Alright guys, this is probably the third and final video with CO2 branding and if it matters and etc etc. It's pretty warm out here today. My thermometer in the house says it's 88 degrees Fahrenheit. This has only been out here for maybe 10 minutes and it's saying 29.9, almost 30 Celsius, about 86 Fahrenheit. It's a little bit windy. Sorry if you're getting a bunch of wind or whatever in the microphone. I'm going to start with the Crosman cartridge because I've been rotating these out. So in this video, Crosman's first, Daisy's second, Umarex will be last. I'm going to let this warm up on the table for about 7 minutes, just like I've done in all the other videos. And shoot Grimburg Joule V3s, 7.7 grams, and using the normal Pierce cap. I haven't put any oil or anything on this, and just see how warm this is. The launcher is saying 91. The CO2s are saying about 91, about the same. The table is like 89, and Celsius it's 32. CO2s are 32. The launcher is 33 Celsius. So yeah, it's not cool out here. So I'll start with the Crosman and I'll be right back. Alright you guys, Crosman cartridge. Hopefully that comes out. Crosman, I think it's in focus maybe. Let's see. There you go, Crosman. So that's going in here. Got the pressure cap. And I'm going to pressurize this. This has 5 Grimburg Joule V3s. No leaking or anything. And I'll see what these speeds are, put the Joule values, and then I'll let it chill for a few minutes and then shoot it again. 254. 242. 234. 228, 212. So I'm going to switch the magazine. That had 5. I'm going to breech load one of these. So this has 6 in it right now. So this has 6 now because there's 1 in the breech and 5 in the mag. 222. 214, 206, 198. I think I got 2 shots possibly left. 188, 174. Yep, out of rounds. So that's it for the Crosman cart. Still had about 5 more shots. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this alone outside, and I'll show you guys the piercings and all that stuff. It's just gonna be on this table, and I'll be back in about 7 minutes or so. So next would be the Daisy, and yeah, I'll be right back. Alright guys, it's been about 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to shoot this again. This has been on the table the whole time, so have these cartridges. So I'll just do a temperature check real quick. So that is about 89, which is the same as the thermometer on the table. CO2s are at 32 or 89. The table is about 89, so everything's pretty much the same as it was before. I think before it was like a little bit hotter, like 91 degrees or something, but not much of a difference. So here's the Daisy cartridge. Hopefully it's in focus. Daisy. That is going in now, and this is getting screwed on here like this. I pulled the same exact, I'm shooting the same exact Grimburg Joule V3s out of this. Like I took them out of my box and I'm shooting them again, so there's no change in ammo, because sometimes they have slight weight differences or bore sizes, but these are the same exact balls I just shot. So Daisy cartridge is in here. I'm gonna puncture this. pressurized, no weird stuff going on. I need to put a magazine in it. So here we go. Second mag, or second CO2. 254. 240. 230. 222. 210. So I'm gonna eject this mag. That was 5 shots. I'm gonna breech load one with the second magazine. So there's one in the breech right now. I'm putting another one in the mag, and then I'm putting this back. So this is ready to go. 6 more shots with maybe 20 seconds in between the reload. 218. 208. 200. 192. 184. Hopefully my cat doesn't screw this up. 156. That was pretty low. This is the Daisy cartridge. Out of shots, out of projectiles. So that's it for this CO2. I'm going to leave this on the table next to the Crosman one, and then I'll end with the Umarex, and then I'll show you guys the paper and all that stuff with all the feet per second joules and everything. So this is Umarex. It's 12:42. I'll be back in about 7 or 8 minutes, and this is just going to be chilling right here in that time period. Alright, you guys, this is the last CO2. It's pretty warm out here. It's like staying steady at this 88, 31 Celsius, 88 Fahrenheit. Pretty low humidity. All the same Grimburg Joule V3s have been shot out of this. This is the Umarex cartridge. This will be the last one for this video for shooting. 32 on the launcher, 32 on the 31.8, almost 32 pretty much. 89 on the launcher, 89 on the table, almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, everything looks pretty normal. I'm gonna load up the Umarex CO2 into this salt supply S2, and then cap this little B on here. I'll do the 5 shots and then reload. Add a ball in the launcher through the breech, and then I'll shoot again. So yeah, this will be the last shooting demo with the brand CO2 brands and stuff if it matters. So far they seem pretty even. The Daisy seems to be the weakest toward the end. So punctured Umarex cartridge, pretty even playing field for all of them. 248, 238, 228, 222. This is a stock salt supply S2. There's been nothing done to this. 214. I've only added, like, obviously I've taken it apart and re-lubed and re-greased stuff in it, but I haven't done any like performance mods to it or anything. There's not much you can do to it other than like widening out your firing pin and like the inside of the valve kind of. Yeah, there's not really that much you can do to it. Not much that I know how to do to it. So 6 shots on the second magazine. 218. 210. 204. 3 more shots. 198. 186. 166. And like I said in other videos, I could try this over and over. I could do this with like 30 CO2s total, like 10 of each brand. And after you do it so many times, you'll see a slight pattern. But as far as I could tell, it doesn't look like much is different between these. Like, yeah, the last shot kind of drops off, like the 11th shot and 10th shot, but that's pretty normal for this to, it uses so much air or CO2 gas that by the 10th or 9th shot, there's a big drop in speed. But unless you get like a CO2 cartridge that is kind of like not fully filled to capacity, like a manufacturer defect or something along those lines, if it's super cold or if it's super hot, or if I tried this with no break in between and just kept shooting it on a cold launcher, that'll definitely affect the speeds. But I'll show you guys what this did, how it did with all the different brands of CO2 until I see that data, which I feel like I've done this before, but like not as in depth. Before I see all this data, I kind of feel like there's not much of a difference. The only thing that would be different is if these make the inside of your launcher dirty, and what that would be like oils or contaminants that are inside the cylinder that you can't see. And if you pierce it, not inside of a launcher, if you just like pierce this somehow, you'll just get a bunch of stuff spewing out, which is basically the CO2 gas. But there's a lot of things you cannot see with your naked eye that might be in this, and for that you would need like like sophisticated like lab equipment to see if there's any sort of contaminants or other stuff in these cartridges other than CO2, like oils or something else of that nature, some other types of gas or something. If there's any contaminant in there, you would need like a spectrometer or something that analyzes light and how it bends inside like a heated tube and stuff. It's kind of like very sophisticated stuff that would be very expensive to try to figure out that type of thing. But anyways, I'll check out the paper. I'll write all this data on a piece of paper and I'll compare it with all the other videos. So maybe I'll do a fourth one, but for now it'll just leave it how it is. What's up, guys? So I got my data for that previous video, and here's all the temperatures. This was the Salt Supply S2 7-minute cooldowns, Grimburg Joule V3 7.7 gram average. Crosman cartridge was first, Daisy cartridge was second, Umarex cartridge was third. These are all the FPS readings and the joule values. So you can see all that data in this section. And here is the averages. So the Crosman 5-shot average was 19.65 joules today. Daisy was 19.2 and Umarex was 18.97. The 10-shot average for the Crosman cartridge was 17.41, 16.8 joules for the Daisy, the average, 16.89 joules for the Umarex 10-shot average. The 11-shot average, 16.81 for the Crosman, 16.07 joules for the Daisy, 16.25 joules for the Umarex. So, today, the 5-shot average was better on the Crosman, the 10-shot average was better on the Crosman, and the 11-shot average was better on the Crosman. So now that I have 3 sets of data, I can compare to see if the first CO2 that was fired on each day prior to today had the best results. And it's kind of a mixed bag. I'm saying this because sometimes the launcher is at its warmest with the first CO2, and even though I waited 7 minutes in between each shot, and I did this on warm days, the launcher is still slightly cooler on the second cartridge and on the third cartridge than it was on the first. So if you look at the first day, with the first day I used Daisy first, had a higher 5-shot average with the Daisy versus the other ones, Umarex and Crosman. I also had a higher 10-shot average with the Daisy on the first day because I used the Daisy cartridge first. And I also had a higher 11-shot average with the Daisy because I used the Daisy cartridge first. So the second time I did this, I used the Umarex cartridge first. And surprisingly, the Crosman, this was the one where the CO2 puncture cap on my S2 had a faint leak, very faint leak. But I shot the Umarex first, I waited 7 minutes, shot the Crosman second, waited 7 minutes, shot the Daisy last, and then that was the end of the video. But with the 5-shot average, the Crosman actually did better, and that was the second cartridge. With the 10-shot average, the Umarex won that, and that was the first cartridge that was shot on that day. And with the 11-shot average, the Umarex also won that. So this is a pattern I'm noticing. Aside from this second test, the first CO2 had the higher averages, which is kind of what I expected. If I would have waited like maybe 30 minutes in between each CO2 cartridge, it might be a different story, possibly. Or if I left the launcher in direct sunlight or something for that interval. But on 2 of the days it was after work and the sun was kind of sunset going down. It was a warm day, but the sun was setting, so I couldn't really do that. And on the third video, which you guys just saw, it was middle of the day, but I didn't want to skew the results because I wanted 3 sets of data to be as even as possible. That's why I just left it on the table in the shade. So what I did do, I'm going to probably try this again, maybe with a different launcher. Maybe I'll use one of the Umarex things or something I know that reliably shoots and doesn't have any hiccups or farting or anything like that. So what I did was, with the Crosman cartridge, with all these sets of data I have, I made 5-shot averages with the previous 3 videos. So for the Crosman, the 5-shot average on the second day, sorry it's kind of fuzzy, was 19.41. The 5-shot average on the first day was 18.59. And the 5-shot average for today was 19.65. This is all figures with the Crosman. So I wrote all those numbers down here, and I divided that value by 3, and I got the average of the 3 videos with the 5-shot average was 19.21 for the Crosman. The 5-shot average for all 3 videos with all those averages with the Daisy cartridge, 21 plus 18.59 plus 19.2, which was right here. Daisy cartridge 5-shot average 21, Daisy cartridge 5-shot average 18.59, and Daisy cartridge 5-shot average 19.2. That's all this data right here. I divided that number by 3. I got 19.59 joules. So I did the same thing with the Umarex. I got the 5-shot averages from the previous 3 videos and the one that you just saw. So the previous 2 videos plus today's video. So these are the 5-shot averages with the Umarex cartridge. Divided this number by 3. I got this number, 18.94 joules. So in this regard, the Daisy had the highest 5-shot average across the 3 videos. I also did that with the 10-shot averages and the 11-shot averages. So you can see right here, this is the Crosman cartridge, Daisy cartridge, Umarex cartridge. This was the 10-shot average on the first video, the 10-shot average on the second video, the 10-shot average on this video. I divided this whole number by 3 and got 16.82 joules. I did the same thing with the Daisy 10-shot average plus 10-shot average plus 10-shot average, divided it by 3. I got 17.21 joules. And with the Umarex, I did the same thing, the 10-shot average from all 3 videos, divided that number by 3, and got 17.18 joules. So the Daisy also won that, which is kind of surprising, because sometimes the Daisy looked like it was kind of getting slow, and I double-checked my math, and everything's correct. So that was the winner. And then the 11-shot average, I got the 11-shot average for the Crosman from all the 3 videos, divided that number by 3, got 16.24 joules. Did the same thing with the Daisy, got the 11-shot average from all 3 videos, divided that number by 3, 16.41 joules was the 10-shot average across all 3 videos. I also did that with the Umarex, so these are all the 11-shot averages from the previous videos, and I got this 16.61 joule value. So in the 11 shot average, the Umarex won 10 shot average across all 3 videos, the Daisy won, and with the 11 shot average, or sorry, 5 shot average on all 3 videos, the Daisy had the highest power, but the difference between the highest average and the lowest average is only like 0.6 joules. So that's kind of negligible. The biggest difference between the highest average on 10 shots and lowest average on 10 shots was 0.4 joules. And the difference between the high and low on the 11 shot average is also just 0.4 joules. So we're really like splitting hairs, like, oh, this one's just slightly better than that. I don't have like a ton of CO2 brands. I know that there's like Lancer Tactical, Sig Sauer, there's like the random like food grade CO2s you can use. There's like Mr. Fizz. There's Burner brand CO2 gas. There's tons of different brands. I mainly just buy these because they're available in my local area at retail stores and stuff, Walmart, Tractor Supply, that type of thing. I think there's like Special Ops brand CO2s and probably prepared to protect. P2P makes CO2. Like there's tons of CO2s you can buy, but as you can see just from 3 data sets, there's not much of a difference. If you get a crappy brand of CO2, that may cause issues, but these ones are pretty reputable. I've always been recommended or see these a lot of places, these 3 brands. I have lots of Crosman CO2s. I just bought a 30 pack of Umarex and I have like 25 packs of Daisies just chilling. So I have plenty of these brands of CO2s. So I wouldn't mind doing this test over with like HTP 50 or I don't know, something else that I know reliably shoots and doesn't have any farting or stuttering and stuff. So if you guys want to see that, I'll try to shorten it as much as I can just so it's not super long and convoluted and bunch of talking and stuff. But yeah, that's just the data I have. And like I said, I could run this test with 20 Crosman CO2s and 20 Daisy CO2s and 20 Umarex CO2s, and it probably won't really fluctuate that much. They'll just be, half a joule difference on the averages. And like I said earlier, the only time you'd have an issue is if there's like a manufacturing problem where like a cartridge didn't get filled all the way up with 12 grams, or one of them had more than 12 grams of CO2, or if you get some cheap like random like knockoff stuff that actually has bad reviews and people say don't buy this, it's crap, and you buy that stuff and you try using it and you get really junky results, like that could be something to take into consideration. But I'm not going to waste money on garbage stuff like that. So you guys have a good one. Hopefully that can answer some questions, but I'll try this again. If you guys have suggestions for what you would want me to use, go ahead and throw it in the comments. I have the ones I would want to use it with would be like the HTP 50, possibly the TR50, the TR68, maybe the HDB 68, and I feel like my Tipex has issues every once in a while, and I don't want that to ruin the video. And then the TCR, I haven't ran it on CO2 in a while, but I had to definitely kind of crank it down a little bit because right now it's hitting like 30 joules or so, which on a 12 gram CO2 won't last very long. I'll get like 8 shots and it'll be dead probably, or like 10 shots. And then the only other stuff I have would be like BB guns or something, but that's not really what I want to try testing it with. So I'll probably just default go to the HTP 50 or the TR68 with restrictors and stuff because I don't want to just blast all the air out. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or comments or whatever, just throw them in the comments, and thanks for checking it out. See you guys next time.